Welcome. What you are about to explore will challenge the boundary between science and spirituality and reveal that this boundary may not exist at all. Today, we are going deep into one of the most profound questions a human being can ask. What is consciousness? Not the kind that thinks and feels, not the inner voice narrating your day. Something deeper, something that exists even when all thoughts and feelings have stopped. Something ancient traditions have described for thousands of years, and that quantum physics is only now beginning to confirm. This is the science of pure consciousness. Stay with us until the end, because what you discover here may fundamentally change how you understand yourself, your world, and your place in the universe. Have you ever spaced out completely? Not daydreaming, truly zoning out. No thoughts, no feelings, no sense of past or future. Just a kind of open, quiet awareness. In that moment, what was still present? You were still there. Something was aware, but that something had no content, no opinions, no stories, no judgments. That is pure consciousness. It is the awareness itself, stripped of everything except the fact of being aware. Every human being, every animal, every being that has ever existed experiences this. The thoughts and feelings we carry are like clouds in the sky. They change, they pass. But the sky, the open awareness, remains constant. Pure consciousness is that sky. It does not judge, it does not categorize. It simply witnesses. This distinction between the observer and what is observed is the foundation of everything we will explore today. Here is something worth sitting with. Your thoughts and emotions, every single one of them, have polarity. Good and evil. Pleasure and pain, hope and fear. Every emotion exists somewhere on a spectrum. But pure consciousness? It has no polarity at all. It does not say this is good or this is bad. It does not prefer happiness over sadness. It simply sees what is, clearly, completely, without distortion. This is why in many traditions, the goal of meditation is not to achieve a pleasant state. It is to rest as the awareness that sees all states equally. The person sitting next to you right now has completely different thoughts, different values, different fears, different desires. And yet, behind all of those differences, there is the same pure present awareness, the same sky. You and that person and every animal, every past human, every future being all share this one underlying consciousness. The differences are surface. The sameness goes all the way down. Now, let us expand this further. If every being shares the same pure consciousness, then all beings are connected by that consciousness, like beads on a single invisible string. This is not just a philosophical metaphor. Ancient traditions from across the world have articulated this same insight. The Tao, the Atman in Vedic philosophy, the divine matrix, the Holy Spirit. Each of these concepts, in their own language, points to the same reality, a single unified awareness underlying all of existence. And here is the remarkable thing. You can know this is true not only through intuition, but through science. The Big Bang tells us that everything in the universe, every atom, every star, every human being, emerged from a single point. We were all once one. The separation we experience today is, in a very real sense, an illusion, an appearance of multiplicity from a single source. Quantum physics offers us something extraordinary here. The phenomenon known as quantum entanglement demonstrates that two particles, once connected, remain correlated regardless of distance. Change one, and the other responds, instantaneously, across any amount of space. Einstein famously called this spooky action at a distance. But what it reveals is something profound. Once two things have been part of the same system, they are never truly separate. Apply this to consciousness, and the implications are staggering. If everything in the universe emerged from a single unified point, if we were all, once, truly one, then quantum entanglement suggests we remain invisibly connected. Not metaphorically, physically. And beyond that, quantum physics also tells us that observation matters. The act of observing a quantum system changes it. The observer is not separate from what is observed. Consciousness and matter are not two independent things. They are deeply, fundamentally intertwined. The most basic unit of everything that exists in the universe is not a particle, it is a vibration. String theory, one of the most advanced frameworks in modern physics, proposes that all fundamental particles are, at their core, tiny vibrating strings of energy. Different vibrations produce different particles. Different particles produce different atoms. Different atoms produce everything we see. This means every being in the universe has its own unique frequency. You are not a fixed object. You are a dynamic vibration. And because everything vibrates, everything resonates. When two things share a frequency, they influence each other. This is the physics behind what many call energetic connection. The universe is not a collection of separate things. It is one vast vibrating field, expressing itself through billions of unique frequencies, all part of the same whole. Your unique frequency is how the one consciousness expresses itself through you. What you give comes back to you. Most people have heard this, but few understand why it must be true. Not as a moral preference, but as a logical consequence of universal oneness. If all beings are expressions of the same one consciousness, if what appears to be another person is, in reality, another mode of the same awareness that you are, then what you give to others, you are literally giving to yourself. The feedback loop is perfect. There are no errors. The only variable is time. What karma adds to this is the concept of the time error, the gap between action and return. Because the universe is vast and the paths of return are infinite, the return may come through entirely different channels, a different person, a different situation, a different time, but it will return. This is not mysticism. It is geometry. The circle always closes. Carl Jung introduced the concept of synchronicity, meaningful coincidences that cannot be explained by ordinary causation. You think of an old friend you have not spoken to in years, and that same evening they call you. You are working on a problem, and the exact solution appears in an unrelated conversation. You feel drawn to turn left instead of right, and that choice changes everything. These moments are not accidents. They are the signature of a consciousness that is not confined to a single location. What pure consciousness recognizes in one place is simultaneously known throughout the field. This is not telepathy in the sensational sense. It is something more fundamental. If all awareness ultimately shares the same source, then what arises in one part of the field is, in a deeper sense, arising everywhere. Synchronicity is the universe showing you, gently, persistently, that separation is the illusion, and connection is the truth. Now we arrive at one of the most practical and most misunderstood principles in human history, the law of attraction. Most people think of it as positive thinking. Visualize what you want, and it will come. But that is a surface understanding. The real mechanism goes much deeper. Pure consciousness, the awareness at the foundation of all reality, is not passive. It is the originally creative power. The first consciousness created all things by recognizing them, by becoming aware of them, by bringing them into focus. This recognition creation process is not just history. It is operating right now, through you. What you recognize, truly, deeply, with your full awareness, you pull toward existence. This is why the law of attraction works when it works, not because of wishful thinking, but because consciousness itself is the mechanism of creation. Thought is not separate from reality. Thought is how reality shapes itself. There are three specific methods through which this recognition creation process can be consciously activated. The first is concentration and immersion. When you focus your awareness completely on something, when you immerse yourself in it so deeply that nothing else exists, you are recognizing it with extraordinary force. Consciousness responds. The object of your focus begins to organize reality around itself. The second method is knowing. This is not hoping or wishing. It is the settled recognition of a possibility as already determined. There is no tension in knowing, no grasping, just the quiet certainty that something is already decided at the level of pure consciousness, and therefore will manifest in time. The third method is assumption. To assume a certain state of being is to recognize a reality that has, in some sense, already been created. You do not wait for evidence. You feel and act as if the state already exists. Consciousness receives this recognition as real and creates accordingly. Here's a question that takes courage to ask. How can consciousness exist right now, ongoing, continuous, if there was never a first consciousness to begin it? How can something continue without ever having started? In an absolute nothingness, before time, before space, before any particle or wave, something became aware. The first consciousness arose. And because it arose, everything became possible. I will be honest with you. I cannot tell you how the first consciousness was born. No one can. That remains beyond the reach of human reasoning. But here is what you can know, through both rationality and intuition. The first consciousness existed. Its existence is the only explanation for the consciousness you are experiencing right now, in this moment. And that first consciousness did not just observe. It created, by recognizing, by bringing things into awareness. This recognition-creation process is the origin of everything.
Meditation is often taught as a stress reduction technique, and it is that. But at its deepest level, meditation is something far more radical. It is the practice of returning to pure consciousness itself. When you sit quietly and allow thoughts to pass without following them, when feelings arise and dissolve without your identification, what remains is the bare awareness itself. Vivid, silent, effortless. And here is the extraordinary implication. If pure consciousness runs through you, through every being, and through the origin consciousness that underlies all of existence, then when you feel the pure consciousness within you, you are touching the same awareness that is in everything. You are not separate from the divine. You never were. The way to be one with what people call God, the Tao, the source, the universe, is not through prayer or ritual alone. It is through the direct experience of your own awareness. Meditation equals feeling pure consciousness, and that feeling equals unity.
Let us bring everything together. In you, there is a universe, and the universe is you. The awareness reading these words is the same awareness that runs through every living being, through the stars, through the quantum fabric of reality itself. You are not a small thing in a big universe. You are the universe becoming aware of itself through a unique point of view. The teachers, sages, and scientists who have touched this truth all point to the same experience, and they describe it with the same quiet wonder. I realized. Not I understood. Not I believed. I realized. This realization is available to you. Not someday. Right now. Sit quietly. Let thoughts pass. Feel the awareness that remains. That awareness, simple, present, vast, is what you have always been. Thank you for watching. If this resonated with you, like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who is ready to ask the deepest questions. New episodes every week. MacroPulseBusiness. Business and economy intelligence. Simplified.